Good day, everybody. John Barlow. So, looks like they covered up another uh, secret death. So this plane crash that happened, everyone said, "Oh, it's a missile." It looked like a missile the way it was falling. I thought it was a missile too, but when I followed the tapes and I did the research, I didn't know it was a small plane. They made it sound like a giant Boeing plane or something. That's why I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a missile." It just passed assumption, which is a bad thing to do. But looking into it, I found out it goes deeper, as it always does. So the medical plane's voice recorder was not working for years, and the black box recovered didn't have any voice recordings from on the plane, probably for secure details. So I went a little deeper into this. I wanted to find out who died on this plane crash and why there's no evidence of communication or even a distress call when this happened. As it shows here, he noted that there is a lack of a distress call. No call was given, and they blamed it on how fast the crash happened. But what gets me is they've been having issues with this before it even left. They've been having issues with this before it even left the runway. So why didn't they halt transportation and change the plane? Especially since, you know, they have so many of these medical transport planes through their company. So those on the plane primarily noted is the 11-year-old girl. I can't say her name. Here you go. A young girl who recently received months of life-saving care at Philadelphia Shriners Children's Hospital was being transported by plane. She had been receiving specialized medical care for an ailment that was hard to cure in Mexico, and her name was Valentina Guzmo Murillo. But the doctor, Dr. Meza, was one of the highest practice, and he was the head of the studies for this medical condition she's suffering from that they considered was genetic, known as spina bifida. Is a birth defect where the spine and spinal cord do not develop properly, leading to a gap in the spine. It can range from mild cases with no symptoms to severe cases that may cause significant disabilities. And this guy had a high recovery, and he was taking this young girl out of the country for medical care in Mexico. And he was getting such advanced findings in how to recover the nerve damage from this that it was jeopardizing tons of money in this genetic disorder losses to Big Pharma and the FDA. And I'll explain what causes spina bifida. The exact cause and occurrence of spina bifida isn't clear. A combination of genetics and environmental factors are thought to be the case. Now, there are two different forms of this condition, one being really severe and one being not so common, which is the meningocele or Gosella condition, and the Malameno Gosel. I can't say these medical terms right, so bear with me. I know I sound like a dirt sometimes, but please forgive me, okay? I'm trying. But keep in mind, these two conditions are a extension of it. It says more severe than spina bifida occulta, which is what the young girl had. But listen to this. As far as treatments go currently, because it involves nerve damage, more serious types of spina bifida cannot be cured. Cannot be cured. Children with more severe cases of spina bifida need to learn mobility skills and need learning to learn to manage their bowel and bladder function. Some may require catheterization, a passage for the urine, as well as surgery, physiotherapy, medication to treat some of the effects of it. Not to mention, they will need to grow up with assistive devices such as braces, crutches, wheelchairs throughout their lives. Doesn't that sound like good money-making medical equipment to write off on insurance for the rest of their lives instead of fixing their condition? This was intentionally done, and I'm pretty sure what happened was the plane was tampered with by its main manufacturer, which I think it was JetMed Enterprises or something is the name of their company. And it's nothing to pay someone off, just like Big Pharma's paying off investors to buy the mom and pop shops out so they can control the cannabis finance since they can't change the laws. So what they did was they paid them off to to mess with the equipment on the plane so they would never reach their destination for her recovery, because the moment this girl recovers, it's going to cost even more money that Big Pharma loses in medical devices for these people that are suffering this condition that might be environmental due to military and our own government, or might just be something that has to do with, well, 99% of the time my doctor told me, because I asked her about that condition when I went over at Lakewood Health, and she said, well, what she said was, the majority of nervous system disorder issues are factors caused by your own government and military. The problem is, since it's been caused to you by invisible entities such as chemicals and heavy metals in the air, she said, there's no way to file a civil claim against your government or your military because you have to prove an invisible world to them. Explaining that this happened because of your environment conditioning, which is the case and does happen, but to prove it is damn near impossible, Mr. John. So I'm like, okay. This starts to make sense now. So that plane was intentionally tampered with to kill only the doctor, not just the little girl. I mean, the little girl was a factor because she was the one receiving the recovery and treatment, so she would have been a martyr for all those suffering from this genetics, while the healer and the teacher would have been the doctor, as he's head of the program and the studies for this and for infants that are born with this, because he's an infant doctor. He's a pediatrician. So God rest his soul, another doctor that died trying to save lives because it was at the extent of holding on to billions and billions of dollars for an evil corporation. Very sad. Glad I could share this information.